Circle, and we're live. Welcome, everybody, to Unicorn Adventures, where fun, creative professionals take a break from business and play my role playing game. Today, we have RJ and Jeff, and this is the very first episode. So, we're diving into a very fun, crazy world of interesting things, and you'll get to learn fun and interesting stories. Like I said, this is predominantly about fun, but if you know both of these, you will see some of the fun things strewn in the middle of all of it. The entire story is determined by what the two of them choose to do and this deck of cards. I have just shuffled and I cannot reshuffle this deck of cards. So at this point, whatever goes, goes. And as they try to do various things, the cards will determine whether or not they're successful, unsuccessful, or if something magical happens. With that, we're going to start off, and we're actually going to start off with RJ. RJ, can you tell us a little bit about your character?
Yes, my character is a warlock who has made a pact, an agreement, if you will, with the Fathomless, which is like a patron of the deep, of the depths, at the bottom of the sea, type of a thing. And she's made it's an agreement. I get to use some eldritch powers for fun and profit. Occasionally I have to do whatever the deity tells me to do, no matter what it is. So it's an exchange, and my and also a tiefling, which a tiefling has great big horns that kind of come around like this. Oh yeah, thank you, Stefan. uh the horns, they're part, it's a part of it, I like to rock those wherever I go. It makes some people suspicious that I'm trying to do dark things or cast spells that are bad, but really my heart is good. I want to save the world through writing a book that helps people feel inspired and confident in themselves. But I totally don't look it. I look evil as hell.
And I believe this is the book that the ultimate book to get you all the power and the knowledge of all the things that you're doing. So yes, that's what you're driven for is knowledge. So
Yes.
we'll start with you. You have recently heard and found out that there is a village more off into the mountains where apparently there has been some book of knowledge addition. Actually, I can go as far as to tell you that this book of knowledge looks. You know about a scrap of this new book. Oh my goodness. There we go. There's a scrap of a book, and it actually looks like this.
Ooh.
You have found that this is the lettering on top of the book of possibly what it may look like. Um, it is up to you to remember and to take away from this whatever in the world it actually says. But this is what you're searching. You know that there is an element out there for you. So we'll
Okay.
start this entire journey with you have been making your way up towards this village, and you are waking up from your campsite at the edge of the road. It is morning. um, you are gathering your things, and you know that there's several miles until you reach the village, roughly. You're at the side of the road. You've gathered up your things. What do you do next?
Well, make sure I have enough food for the day because you do not want to not feed me. Hanger plus like hellish rage, not great, not great. So I take a second check in the bag. Do I have enough food and water to make it to my destination?
And I am excited to say the first card is going to get drawn on food inside of a bag. Fair enough. You have drawn a 7, which it's your bag. It's, I'm going to say, looks like you've got enough. You probably have enough provisions for another couple of days. You knew you were going to be in the mountains. Yeah, you've got enough. It may not be the most delicious meal and feast ever, but definitely enough to take you through a couple more days.
All right. Fantastic. So that going well, I'm a little sad as I kick sand over the fire. because I like fire. And but I get on the road. Is there anyone with me, or am I traveling solo here?
You've been traveling solo. Nobody's wanted to go to this specific village. It's just been you this whole time.
I'm enough company. I'm enough company for me. So I feel good about this. I whistle a strange eldritch tune as I walk along the road.
Jeff, I am actually going to draw a card for you, given as and can you, RJ, remind us the name of your character, please, again?
It's Comra. That's a K, an A, an M, an R, and an A.
So, because Kamra is whistling, I'm going to draw a card for you to see whether or not you notice. That is a 4. You do not notice. Kamra, as you're walking up, you're walking for about 20, 30 minutes, and you see a sign of smoke a little bit, as if another campsite is nearby. And you're just hearing a little, maybe crackling fire, a little bit of banging as if somebody's preparing a meal. Do you do anything?
Well, sometimes people are a little afraid of me. So I will look in that direction, but I will not approach.
Okay. To be fair, this is up the road. You know, this is where you have to be going. This is not off to a side of the road.
Oh, up to okay.
Up along,
Okay.
further along the road. Yes.
I approach with caution.
Okay. Do you want to approach stealthily, or you're just approaching with caution?
Yeah, just with caution. I mean, I stand out in a crowd.
Fair enough. And there's not even a crowd here. There's nobody else. As you walk on further, you end up coming upon. Well, Jeff, how about you tell me? Tell us about your character, because what you're doing right now is you've also woken up from camp, and you are now making a meal and getting ready for the day to go to a village that you have heard is able to heal a lot of people. That seemingly, when people go to this village and stay in this village, all of their problems, all of their terrible worries seem to go away. And so you are on a mission to go and explore that aspect of the village. And so you're preparing, and obviously, Kamra is coming up a little bit, and you might see them pretty soon. Describe that to us. Describe your character, how you're preparing food.
So my character is the Mudra Mage Marukai, and I utilize the meditative mudras of where we connect our fingers to have different effects. And I utilize those for my own mindfulness. My strongest power is my mind and the ability to self regulate, self mastery. And as I am waking up and preparing my healthy meal of bamboo shoots, I hear a twig crack in the woods, and my ears perk up, and I listen, and I see the leaves rustling. And I throw a rock towards the bushes. What happens, Stefan?
All right, I like it. I like the initiative, and to be very fair, the whole reason that you're a Mudra mage and you are a panda folk. For people that are like, why is he wearing a panda head? You are, and that's yeah. So to be clear, all right, let's see what happens. What was your goal in throwing the rock? Is your goal to maim, to scare, warning shot? What is your goal?
Just to see if it's a squirrel.
Okay, you got an ace. You very perfectly hit Kamara right square in the forehead, but luckily, because of the horns, this doesn't do any damage, but very much alerts you that they are there.
I go, not again.
I hear words, and then I notice that this is not a regular creature, and I shout out, "Who's there?"
My name is Kamra. I am traveling to the next town. I don't mean you harm. I know I look freaky, but I'm nice, trust me.
Karma, your name reminds me of my other friend, Karma. Do you happen to know each other?
Oh, yeah, distant cousin. Not a side of the family we talk to often, but I mean, we're on good terms. We're on good terms.
So I would like to provide you with a bandage for your forehead and an apology for throwing the rock at you.
Apology accepted. And what does the bandage look like? Is it cool?
It's got Hello Kitty on it.
Oh, I'm pasting that thing right to my forehead. Yes.
All right. So as you paste it to your forehead, we're gonna see how good of a job you do, and you got a 4. So Hello Kitty is about the only thing that's saving that bandage and making it look somewhat cool. It's really skewed. It looks loose. It's not. It doesn't look great. But it's doing its job for all intents and purposes.
I'd also like to teach you a mudra for healing of the wound. So if you take all of your fingers and combine them together and put it central to your head, that'll support the healing of that specific area.
It's also supporting the bandage pretty well.
You got a jack. Even though you didn't take any damage, it seems that any of the skin abrasion or any aspect from the rock completely heals. You now no longer need the bandage unless you wish to wear it as an accessory.
I absolutely wish to wear it as an accessory. And I say, what was the thing? What was the thing you just said? It was a mood ring. What did we just do?
Called the Mukala mudra, and a mudra is what we can do with our fingers in order to support a meditation or an intention. And so the Mukala mudra, and this is not just Dungeons and Dragons folklore, this is actually a real thing. The Mukala mudra is allowing you to direct energy to a specific part of your body. And when you place that mudra at the right location, you'll feel instant rejuvenation. It's a sharp focus of healing energy. And other benefits of that include a balance in your metabolism, improves liver function, balancing of your energy, strengthening your internal body, helps with hypertension, and increases appetite. So you will be hungry later.
Ooh. All right. Very, very good. What happens if we try to play piano?
With those fingers?
With the energy, or say an Eldritch Blast or something like that. I mean, I'm totally taken in by this. I completely want to learn more.
So this one is for a specific channeling of your energy, similar to like a healing of yourself, right? So like a power up, right? If you were to walk over a first aid kit, that's the specific intention of this mudra. So if you were to use it on a piano, it may repair the piano.
All right, then. I'm going to be checking this place out for pianos. This is kind of exciting. Are you going my way? Are you coming the same direction I am, or what's your deal?
I'm heading to this village I heard about, where by spending time there, you can heal. I wasn't always a panda. I overconsumed bamboo and grew this head, and I'm trying to be able to take it off.
Oh, bamboo overconsumption. That does sound like a sticky situation, particularly with the bamboo. Well, very good. I think I'm headed your way. You wanna travel together, or?
Yes, I would like to. I'm gonna pull on an item. Is that allowed?
What's the item? What are you trying to do?
I'm going to use this wonderful Daniel Andrews metallic card for the purpose of creating meaningful connections. So I will use this card to vet and see if Kamra is an ally.
Okay, so you're making an insight check to see if they are a trustworthy individual. You got an 8, kind of an in the middle, which means you trust him. Seems fair.
Okay, I would love to have you accompany me on this journey.
All right, very good. Very good, sir. I am also going to pull an item.
Oh boy.
It's
Hey.
don't worry, it's just a Sherlock's home pipe. Don't worry about this.
Does that have any increased benefit or no? Just a pipe for the road for the travels.
It's for the travels. It's for gesturing mostly,
Okay.
because I don't smoke. But I do enjoy a nice gesture as I'm storytelling, which I have a companion. This is odd. I don't ever have a companion. People walk away from me, not toward me. So I'm just enjoying. I'm enjoying companionship and gesturing.
Since you guys just formed this relationship, or we'll see where it goes, I'm gonna pull a card to see if you guys get inspiration. 6. I was gonna let anything above a 7 beat it. No, you don't get inspiration. Jeff, for your information, inspiration would be that at any point I could draw a second card and you could use it to replace the card you drew for any other thing. So it's like an edit, but you guys don't get it at this point. You make your way up towards the village. As you're walking up towards the village, it seems relatively quiet. You're not hearing a whole lot of things. There's also, it seems to get even quieter and quieter because even the animals you can't hear. It starts becoming very eerie and very, very strange in that regard. And you're noticing that further up ahead, you can't quite see the village because of the trees, but it's almost like the humidity is starting to go up. Like there's just more steam, which doesn't make sense given that you're going further and further up in the mountains in this specific case. Do you proceed further? You are probably at this point, as far as you know, about half a mile away from the village.
Well, companion, I am a bit puzzled.
Puzzled by what?
Well, usually the silence when I approach an area where the people are, they're scared. They're scared of the horns. Other tieflings haven't treated them well. There's a whole thing. So part of me is like, that's what's happening. But the steam, I don't get the humidity. It feels like I'm sucking air through a wet blanket. I'm not sure what the steam means. Do you have any idea what's going on?
Does it smell like dumplings?
Nope, does not smell like dumplings. You got a 5. Or like maybe. If anything, it smells more like wet cloth. Laundry day. And not a good kind of laundry day. Not aromatic laundry day.
Special laundry day. Do we see any laundry hanging out?
Nope, not really. But you're starting to notice. So around you, everywhere that you see, there's a lot more greenery. There's obviously some bamboo. That is why Marukai was able to find some and create breakfast. But you're noticing that it's very lush and green. And I will make a perception check for. I'll do both of you. So Mark, I got a jack. Okay, jack and 10. I will say both of you notice that about 150 feet away into the forest, it seems that there's not green, but almost like a sticks, if you would, of dark red, almost brown, and they seem to be humanoid in their alignment.
Sticks, did you say?
From your perception.
Stick people. Okay.
You can continue moving towards the village. You can go explore that. But it is eerie. It is very, very quiet.
I'm a friendly, optimistic panda. I'm willing to go check it out. You want to come with me?
I shall.
What
Yes.
are you checking out the stick people or are you checking out the village?
We are going to gather some bamboo that looks like the green version of these people and bring it with us to show them we are friendly.
As you're coming up to it, you start collecting this bamboo. you get really close to one of these figures, and you notice something different. You notice that actually this is entirely a human-looking body, and that it is a skeleton. Effectively, it is entire molding of a full skeleton. However, dark maroon colored, and for all intents and purposes, from what you can tell, ever so sticky. You can kind of tell that gleam, that strange gleam off of it. And as you, after looking at it, start focusing on that bamboo, at the very last second, out of the corner of your eye, you notice it take a step.
Whoa.
I am going to pause, and Kamra and I will do the Abaya Mudra, which is symbolic of safety, protection, peace, and reassurance. And it can be called upon during challenging times. It helps cultivate a better sense of awareness and helps to overcome fear. It supports you to feel emotionally balanced, happy, stress-free, peaceful, and a sense of strong, deep inner security. And we do that by just putting a hand out. With all the
So let me check on that. Are you trying to cast this on yourself, or are you trying to calm the skeleton?
It is to protect us and show that we mean no harm and we come in peace.
Okay. Oh my goodness. I didn't think it was going to happen this early. The card that you pulled as a result of it is an entirely unique card. You pulled the unicorn card.
Sweet.
The unicorn card allows you, the player, to make one wish, as big or as small as you want it to be in this entire regard. So it doesn't have to only relate to this idea of protection for you. You are basically allowed to make one big wish. What is your wish within reason?
Do we both get a wish? Is that one of our
No,
wishes?
it is just you, because you were doing this in order to teach and to cast this. So now you get to make an overall wish for this. It can be a wish for anything, for knowledge, for whatever the spell does, whatever you like.
I would like to reach enlightenment and be transmuted from a panda into a human.
Okay, so as soon as you do that, you turn back into a human. You've reached that aspect of it, which works really well. Do you want to describe your human self? Do you look like yourself as you are right now with long hair, or is it somehow different? What is the human version of Marukai?
Yeah, all the fur got sucked back up into me and sprouted out of my head.
So is your hair then a streaks of black and white?
Yes, that's cool.
Yeah. Okay. So streaks of black and white hair, long hair in that sense. Do you maintain your, for the lack of a better word, bulbous physique as a panda? What do you look like besides that?
Where's this bulbous stuff in?
I'm just saying.
From the waist up, I'm a human. From the waist down, I'm still panda.
Well, I'm just saying pandas are usually a little bit more rounder. Is that the physique that you're going to maintain?
Yeah, I'm still
Okay. Panda-esque. Fantastic. Miraculously, Marukai turns into a human with streaking black and white hair. And at that very moment, I'm going to also add a little bit of a twist. I will say that whole transformation sends this shockwave of transformation, and the 5 skeletons that have been around you in the vicinity of 300 feet shatter. You are now left with just these piles of bones, and you are now hearing all of a sudden some noises from the village. It's now starting to actually sound like a normal village for all intents and purposes.
Immediately I'm going to go, I did not do that. I did not do that. Peaceful, everybody.
I think we saved the village. We broke the spell.
Were the skeletons bad?
Would you like to make an insight check? Though
Yeah.
they're dead now. But
I hope they're dead.
8. They're skeletons. In your expertise, skeletons are never really great. You've never met an entirely pleasant skeleton.
Right.
Usually they have been known to chase and kill you, and usually around humans. And the majority of this village is human. That
Oh.
skeletons and humans are not very, they don't mesh well.
Okay. Okay. Baby, we did save the village. This is going to be a great day.
I feel like you just jinxed us.
You proceed into the village?
Absolutely. We jump and we dance in there, celebrating.
Okay, I'm gonna have you make a performance check to see how good your dancing and celebrations actually are. Okay, a 9. It's relatively jovial. A lot of the aspect of now you being a human, the dancing is a little bit off, but overall, good dancing. People seemingly aren't paying a whole lot of attention to you as you walk into the village. You go through the main sort of gate, and you notice something very interesting. Every individual that you see here, they're moving and walking around. There's not a lot of conversation. You're not hearing a bustling village in conversation, but there's a lot of action. They're doing the various things that you would see, pushing around carts, potentially doing selling. And every single individual, every single one that you see wears a cloak that covers their hands, seemingly covers their head with a giant hood. And all of the cloaks are red. They're a little bit different hues of red, some darker, some lighter. And ever so often, you're seeing that there's a little bit of almost something steam or something coming off of the tops of these cloaks, that it's ever rising. And so you're standing at the gates and you're looking into all of this as people are walking around doing their normal things, not hearing a lot of conversation, and all wearing red.
The steam, is it coming out of the tops of the heads of the cloak, or is it like the whole cloak is steamy?
It seems like it's coming off of the top portions of the cloak, meaning kind of at the top of the head, where the shoulders are, top of the back. It seems that it's really coming off of the upper edges of it and kind of coming up. And it's not a whole lot. It's not billowing steam. It's
Right.
just a little bit wisps here and there.
Okay. What do you make of this, my friend?
I think these people may have a fever.
Okay. All right. I see that. They seem to be like energetically walking around though. Like this one over here looks like he's putting pavers down for a patio, and you know what I mean? Like they don't, it's just the heat. This is very odd. I've never seen anything like this before.
Are they? Do they look dehydrated?
It's hard for you to tell because you can't see any aspect of their skin. The cloaks seem to cover everything, but yet their movements seem to be relatively energized. Not overly energized, but methodical as they move around. I will also say that it is not extremely hot here. It is kind of a nice temperate climate, nothing overly cold nor hot.
Can we approach one and talk to them?
Absolutely. Would you like to? So as you're standing there, what you're seeing a couple. You're seeing there's kind of a storefront almost, where there seem to be selling some sort of food, or something. And so there's the storekeep and then a person that is buying something. There's a person that is wheeling off a cart of something that you cannot tell. And then there seems to be somebody off kind of to the corner further with a sign. You can't read the sign the way that it's tilted, but they seem to be almost like maybe a beggar, but you're not quite sure, sitting with some sort of a sign. Who would you like to approach?
You down with the food, comrade?
The one with the food. So would you like to talk to the shopkeep?
Yeah, we'll go where the food is and say, "Hey, what are you selling?"
There isn't even an answer as much as you can sort of tell by the movements that it seems to be masculine, that this man just simply opens his hands to kind of showcase the entirety of what's in front of him. And you're mostly seeing things like breads, pastries. This seems to be some kind of a bakery, perhaps. And what you're noticing is that the majority of it seems to be a little bit more on the harder side. It doesn't seem to be a lot of pastries with jams or wet and moist cakes. It really does seem to be just breads, kind of more of the heartier variety of pastry.
Interesting.
Do you have a good question for them, Karma?
Hello, friend. I notice.
They bow. But that's all that you get.
Okay, I'm gonna bow too. And then I'm gonna say, I noticed that not a lot of people talk much in this town. Are we not supposed to talk either? I'm new here. You gotta help me out.
He pulls his head up, and all that you're able to see is just below the nose. The cloak still covers the vast majority, so you're just able to see the mouth. It seems to be not a whole lot of smile, not a whole lot of emotion that comes from it. And then he seemingly looks at you, and turns his head and points his left hand down a street.
What's that street look like?
Looks like a street. This is the street down which that guy with the cart was pushing further. And you notice, because you're standing right next to it, the shopkeep compared to the person that was buying next to you, the cloak darkness is different. The shopkeep's cloak seems to be a bit darker than the other person's cloak. And you're seeing, because you're able to see just the chin, there isn't necessarily much of a beard or facial hair. There's just a little bit of scruff on the shopkeep. It does look a bit maybe more wrinkled, they're older. They're an older individual in this case.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But the street, is it like dark alleyway?
Seems like a normal street, almost like it's leading to the center of town somehow.
Is it daytime still?
It's daytime, yeah, because it's just been the morning. You guys spent maybe 3-4 hours making your way up here, so yeah, it's middle of the day.
Okay. We tried to talk to them. They didn't say anything back. He just points down the street. Can we eat some of the hard, dry bread?
Would you like to just go for it and eat it? Do you want to try and purchase it?
Purchase.
What are you looking to purchase?
Well, I kind of halfway want to purchase like maybe a loaf of bread we can share between us, but I halfway am doing it just to see, because the bread you had said kind of has a hard crust on it. I'm wondering if they like heat it up by putting it on their head or their shoulders.
They're walking microwaves.
Would you like to ask or test that theory somehow?
I can't think of a way to do it without being rude.
I will step in, and I'm gonna just tell the guy, hey, I want one of each. And as he's preparing them, I take one. And I
just so you understand, there are about 20 different. You want 20 pastries?
I was just a panda man. I'm hungry. I want some people food, so I want one of each, whatever he's selling.
I thought Kamara was supposed to be the one who was going to get hungry after the healing thing, but okay, so it's you. Got it. Okay, you want one? You're just saying I want one of each?
Yeah. As he's preparing them, I'm going to take one, and I'm just going to put it on his hood.
He doesn't even prepare it. Like, he, again, as you say that, opens his arms up and again gestures to all of it.
Do we have a bag?
Yeah, you have a bag. You got all your supplies and everything.
I'm just gonna run my arm down and start shoveling them into the bag.
All right. I'm gonna make you pull a card for this. So a 9. What I'm gonna say is, in this case, you get about 10 or so of these things in when he gently but very firmly puts a hand on your hand, almost in a way to say, that's enough. Okay. You don't feel that this is a way for him to say, put it back. He says, I think you've taken enough.
I bow. Thank you.
He bows. Do you all walk away?
It's curious that he didn't want any money.
Would you like to offer him money?
Yeah, what have I got in my pockets?
You don't have a whole lot. Having traveled all this time, you've got maybe a few silver, handful of coppers, 1 gold.
I hand the guy 3 silvers.
You just reach out with your hand.
I'll short bow him, and then I will reach out with my hand, 3 silvers, and see what he does.
He bows, doesn't reach for it.
Curious.
I go in, I lean in to give him a hug.
Okay. We're gonna make a grappling check. All right, this is your Jack. The grappling check is now we're going to see what he does and how he goes with that. He got a 9. You're able to go in for a hug, and you can see it's not even just a, oh, don't hug me. It's a, please get off of me, kind of frantic wriggling and trying to get away. You can tell that it almost feels unhuman, as if he's being touched by something else, that he's in panic. You can especially tell with how in tune you are that this creature, whatever it may be now, that probably human, but you can't tell. This is so far out of its comfort zone. It is beyond, inappropriate.
Well, I try to calm the situation down a bit, and I'll explain to the shopkeep. This is my cousin, and he doesn't travel a lot, and we saved the town earlier. The skellies out there were coming alive, and we were able to.
You feel a tug on your clothing from the side as you're trying to explain all of this. You look over and you see what you now recognize was possibly the beggar with the sign, that is actually seemingly a young woman, or girl, depending on what you say. Maybe about, you can actually see her face. She's wearing a very, very, very light pink robe, and she has the sign in one of her hands, and she's tugging on you. Do you stop and look at her?
Yes, I do. Can I read the sign?
No, it's kind of like turned down away, but she looks up at you, and all that she says to you is, "Help."
I hand a piece of bread to Kamra to hand to the child.
I will hand it to the child.
She looks at the bread and goes, "No, help."
And pray tell, what do you need assistance with?
She raises up her sign in front of you so you can see it. And on the sign, it basically says, in a language, we'll say a language you can understand, not to mess with all of that. But basically, it says, "Brother dying, please help."
Hey, I say to my buddy Marokai, I think we should go assist this small child. What are you thinking?
Absolutely. Also, are we in the village that we were trying to get to initially, or is this a village on the way?
No, this is that village. This is the main outskirts of that village.
The healing village.
Correct.
Okay. So we follow the girl.
Follow the girl?
Yeah.
All right. And the girl seems to take off at not quite a sprint, but she's just excited that she has found somebody that might be able to help. You make your way down. It's not very far. She doesn't take you down any kind of winding. It's not a very big village. It's just down a couple of streets. No dark alleys. You're not really getting any kind of bad vibe from it. And you walk in to this sort of little hut. As you walk in, you see that there's just it's very dim light, and then there's a bed, and on the bed there seems to be, from what you can tell, an elderly man that is just laying there.
I in an aside to my friend, I say I think it's weird that we're in the healing village and the little girl walked up to strangers for help. Like, I think that's odd. I think we should keep our wits about us.
As you say that, she kind of runs up to him, and puts her forearm right next to his forearm, and rubs her forearm and rubs his forearm, and goes, "Help! Help!"
Did something happen with the forearms? Did they change color or just?
Let's look. You got a 10. No, what you can tell, however, is that you can very much tell that one is the forearm of a 16-year-old girl, and the other is a forearm of like an 80-year-old man. And you remember that the sign very specifically said, "Brother."
Brother.
Does he have any resemblance to the stick people skeletons yet?
He does not, and he is the first person in this entire village you see not wearing a red cloak.
Is he steaming at all?
No.
Is there a red cloak hanging around him? Like maybe he just took it off for a nap or something?
Let's take a look. Not that you can tell.
Okay. She's not wearing a red cloak either.
She's her cloak is like a very light pink. Yeah. But it looks like the red cloaks. It's just it doesn't seem to be the same color.
We ask her, how can we help?
She opens her mouth, and before she can open her mouth, you hear the old man go, "I wish I could have just made more. Why didn't I make more?" And he looks at you, and you almost see that his eyes get just a little more sunken in, and a few more of his hairs on his head turn even grayer and whiter as he says that.
Has the cloak on the girl changed shade at all?
No. It's dimmer light. Like in that regard, it has, but for all intents and purposes, no, you've seen no difference.
Okay.
So what I'm hearing is he has something that is significantly aging him at a rapid rate. He is different from the others in that he is not wearing his cloak. He's not steaming, potentially sick or has something. So I go to teach him the Lotus Mudra, which will open the heart chakra, purify the body, relax and stabilize the mind, treat ulcers and fever, and creates a more loving attitude towards others. It's also supportive during times of loneliness and despair. And it's like this. What happens?
So you help him as he's struggling with his hands. You formulate his hands into it. You put him right in the right position, and you got a 10. For all intents and purposes, that was successful. Nothing changes.
So
is he stabilized or is he better?
He's the same.
Is he still losing hair?
He's not losing hair. No. He's sort of stabilized after, but he stabilized before we even did the Lotus Mudra. And he looks at you, and he looks at what you did, and he goes, "So many times. I regret so many times." And another piece of hair, another blotch of it gets even whiter. You look around. We'll say that Kamra's doing this, and you actually see a painting off on the wall that is maybe 2 years old, and you recognize the girl. The girl is standing there in almost a purely white cloak, almost, not quite, a little bit, a hint of pink, and next to her, a little few inches taller, but about the same, and looking almost identical, is another 14-year-old-ish boy.
Whatever
Pink
thing.
cloak on the boy.
Same color cloak on the boy.
Got it.
White though, right?
Whiter. Yeah. White, almost pink.
What were the things he said so far? He said that he wished he had made more.
Yeah.
What was the
And
second
he said,
one?
I regret so much.
So many times.
So many times.
I'm looking around that spot. Made more what is my question in my mind. I'm not snooping. I'm not touching things. But I am quite a bit looking around to see what he could have been making.
It doesn't seem like it was any kind of actual thing. This seems like it's not complete poverty necessarily, but it feels like it doesn't. This house also doesn't feel like it's been lived in for many years. It's maybe been 4 or 5 years. It doesn't feel like there has been a person living here for 80 years.
Is there
But you
anybody else
can't-
in the house? Just the two of them?
It's just the two of them.
But that picture, that painting is only 2 years old.
Yes.
So he's.
I'm gonna go touch the painting.
As you come up to touch the painting, the girl runs over to you, touches the painting, pointing at the boy next to her, and says, "Help!
Yes,
Brother, help!
brother, help!" I point at the old dude. Brother, help!
And she pleadingly, just with almost tears welling up in her eyes, looking at you, goes, "Help!
Want, brother."
She just stares at you.
I point at the dude in the painting, and I point at the old dude, and I say, "Brother."
Vigorous nodding.
And then I point at the dude in the painting, and I go, "Brother, healthy. Brother, good."
She looks at you quizzically. She's not sure what you're asking. She runs over to her brother and grabs his hand. As he looks at her, a smile crosses. This is the first smile ever. It's almost a little bit strange to see the smile on such an old man's face. Just by being here now, he looked 80. It's now getting up to 85, 90 years old. You're seeing him rapidly age. And as he looks at the girl, he goes, "But you're the voice. But you're here." And you see that a streak of color comes back to his hair. And it's almost like there's a little bit of a reverse.
And when he said "your," that was to his sister.
That was to her. He was very obviously making eye contact with the girl.
I'm going to hug Kamra and then say and point to have them mirror that she should hug him, that the sister should hug the brother.
All right. Let's see how well you do. 5, they stare at you both. As you stand there hugging, the brother and the sister are holding hands and just looking at you, not understanding what you're asking.
Okay.
We support them with moving her arms to cover him.
To cover him. Do you say anything to the brother as you do this?
Receive.
You wait, and the brother, slowly looking around, goes, "I like this moment." It almost feels like a decade is just stripped completely off. He becomes a decade younger. You're now seeing a little bit more health come to his cheeks.
I think I got a plan. I think we should try to hug him too. You in?
We did try this with the bread guy. He wasn't a fan of it. But then the girl came running up to us around that time. Yeah, group hug. I'm in.
Group hugging it.
Okay. Are you doing anything else or just group hug, silent group hug?
Move. Okay. Well, okay, we're gonna go here. This is the Kundalini Mudra, and it is associated with the sexual force that needs to be awakened, unification of the masculine and the feminine. And you take the left index finger into the right fist from below and place it on the pad of the thumb. And it is like a loose, fleshy glove for the left index finger. Hold this mudra as low as possible in front of the abdomen. So doing that right before the hug to support with combining the masculine and the feminine.
All right. I will tell you that you pulled an ace for the mudra. So it is 100% successful. And you guys have a fantastically wonderful group hug. But nothing seems to change.
Oh,
He does not get older. He does not get younger.
okay.
Okay.
It's not us, it's him. This is a mindset shift. So now I sit down, eye level with them, and I ask him to recall his favorite memory with his sister.
The day of our cloaks. We got our cloaks. They were white. She was beautiful. Is beautiful. As he's saying this, you're seeing hair by hair, little bits coming back to black, getting darker. Even some growing back in, more and more health kind of revitalizing. And he almost kind of gets lost and a little teary-eyed in the memory of the day. You can tell that this is not the day depicted on the painting, but possibly a day a little earlier than that.
Asking him next, what is he grateful for?
Nothing. In a flash, you feel anger in his voice. You feel something there, as if he aged 5 years.
The Pushpaputa Mudra is a gesture of offering with open heart and of acceptance. Practicing this mudra makes one receptive and accepting with gratitude with what the universe has to offer. And it's just open palms in the lap. And so I sit in front of him, demonstrating that, letting him know, I believe that your ailment comes from any negative mindset that you're carrying. And in order to heal yourself and get back to a healthy state for your sister, we have to maintain a positive mindset, expressing gratitude and love for the things that are in existence now.
And the card that you pulled for that is a king. So that is entirely successful. And what it's great at doing in this case and successful in is convincing him that you are absolutely right and that he completely believes everything that you are saying. And you see him starting to look around and go, we did always provide. It was better. It was good. I know that I'm loved. I understand that I feel better. And as he's saying it, you're seeing him getting younger and younger. His voice is not as raspy. It's getting less and less. You're seeing almost more and more muscles. And slowly but surely, as he keeps saying this, you're seeing him even sitting up and looking at all of you. And now you're seeing a 16-year-old boy that seems to be fully healed and joyous and energetic. And of course, given the power of the group hug, the two siblings embrace.
I'm looking around for some cloakage.
Do you want? So there is a closet, but other than that, you've looked for cloakage. You haven't seen other cloakage.
Okay.
I'm gonna sit down and eat a piece of this bread that we had.
Okay. It's dry. Like it's really dry. It's strange how dry it is. Like you really, you miss the fact that you no longer have as powerful teeth as a panda did to be able to break through the crust of this bread. The inside is edible, but the crust itself, wow, kind of difficult to eat.
I will say, would you mind if I try something, Morokai?
Absolutely.
I take the bread and I pierce with one of my horns, and then I hand it back to you. Like that should be a start.
Thank you, my friend.
Here for you.
Yeah. Well, you guys end up eating some of the bread, recovering some of that, some of the energy. It seems that there's nothing else much more to do here. The twins, as you now understand what they really were, they're ever so grateful, and you see that the brother stands up and goes to the closet and pulls out a cloak, and the cloak is lighter than his sister's, but still a little bit of red. He puts it on, and you notice ever so slightly after he puts it on that little bit of steam starting to come up, and they sort of start getting everything else ready, and they kind of usher you out of their house. And as you come out, you notice in front of you at that very moment, as you came out, walks past a figure, seemingly an old person with the darkest cloak you've seen to this point. And behind him are two other people with much darker cloaks than you've seen, but nowhere near as dark as this one individual. And they seemingly are just walking past you as you walk out onto the street.
I wonder, is the color correlated to age or negativity?
Do you want to make a check for age and determining the age of these individuals?
Yes.
All right. King, it is very obvious that the individual with the darker cloak is much older by the way he's moving, by his gait patterns and everything, by the way he's hunched over. Definitely a much older seeming individual, almost a much more withered individual from what you can tell. And the other two, older perhaps, but a little bit harder maybe to tell there. And what you can tell overall is that the amount of steam that's coming off is far more on the older and the darker individual than it is on the others. And they're walking up the street towards a larger sort of a house. You can follow them. You can explore other parts of the village. What would you like to do?
Offer them bread.
You what?
Offer them bread, and then begin to follow.
They've literally walked past you. You would have to chase them down to offer them bread. Would you like to chase them down?
Okay.
Yeah. Why not? We got nothing else to do.
Okay, you're going to chase them down?
Absolutely.
Okay, you offer them bread.
But he goes first. I will be behind.
You reach out with this bread. They stop. The older figure looks at you, and you see the way that the head moves that he notices you don't have a cloak on. It looks at the bread, follows the hand, looks at exposed skin, and says, "Come with us."
On a scale of 1 to 10, how creepy does he sound?
Yeah. So you got a 6. To you, he doesn't sound creepy. He just sounds old. If your character perceives that as creepy, completely understandable. But from what you're receiving, it doesn't seem creepy. It just seems old.
Well, we got an invitation. Does it seem malicious?
Nope. Seems completely fair and wonderful.
Let's follow the old guy.
All right.
All right.
You follow the old guy. You're walking with them up to this larger building, and you notice that there are a couple of people standing outside of the building without cloaks. They seem to be younger, around early teens, maybe or so, as you're seeing it. And as the two behind open the doors, everybody's ushered into this hall. Um, and you walk into this giant hall, and this building seemed to be not very, very big. But as soon as you go in, you can see that it is packed with multiple floors of balconies around this hall. And on every balcony, there are many, many figures in red. You now realize that this village might be a little bit bigger than you expected and a larger population because just of the number of people that are looking over you. At the base of it all, there seem just to be some hangers with the most pristine white cloaks you have ever seen. They seem to almost radiate white light from all of them. And as you're walking in, you're noticing that it's about the same amount as the number of people that were being ushered in to all of this. And the two men that open the doors, they're kind of going like pushing you to a specific spot. Do you resist, or do you let them kind of guide you to where to stand?
I let them guide me.
Okay.
I make sure my fellow traveler is I'm beside him.
Okay. You're beside each other. All of you are kind of in a semicircle with the others. On the opposite, you're kind of facing all of the cloaks and that old man, and then the two individuals stand on either end, sort of just waiting. There's a bit of a pause as you see the older individual messing with the various parts of the cloaks and seemingly getting something in order. Would you like to do anything before seemingly some sort of a ritual or something is about to begin?
Do we still have all our stuff with us?
You do, yeah.
Okay. I'm just looking forward to steamed bread. I mean, if I'm getting a cloak, I mean,
on top.
yeah, just and I have a whole rack. I can steam us both at once.
Spear onto your horns.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Let's get us a microwave cloak.
Oh yeah.
All right.
We could sell them. It'd be great.
The individual turns around to you and says, "For ages, we have been in pain. We hungered. We wanted food, money, so many things. Why? Why do we need to be like all other people? Agonizing. Stop the agony. Embrace this." The two bigger individuals begin to take off the cloaks, and they start putting them on each one of the people. You two are not quite at the middle of the semicircle, but you're not the first ones to get some of these cloaks. Are you doing anything as they're starting to put on these cloaks?
I am going to touch the elbow of my fellow traveler and say, I don't know about this dude.
I'm already halfway naked as I prepare to don the cloak.
Okay. As you're seeing them putting on the cloaks, you're able to see the faces of all these individuals, and you see that there's a discomfort. It's not maybe pain that they have on their faces, but there seems to be some sort of strange discomfort that they're not quite sure what is going on as this is being placed on them. Further and further, they're about to grab the cloaks that are going to be placed on the two of you. Are you going to be doing anything else or continuing on?
Full birthday.
I'm kind of the opposite over here. I'm like, just traveling through. I'm cool with what I got. Thank you, though. Just here supporting my brother here.
One of the bigger individuals sort of grabs your hand and goes, "This is what we do. This is why we are here."
I understand completely, and I respect your views. I do not share them. I'll get out of your way. I don't want to be in your way. And then
Fear.
I lean over to my companion and I just give him the wide eyes, like, I think we better, I try to
step in
communicate.
between them and I say, "I'll take hers."
Kamra, you feel a bony hand on your forearm. You see that the much older individual standing right next to you. And you hear him say, "Fear. You're afraid to be one of all of us. Free of worry. Fear." And you feel that he's starting to pull you back into the semicircle.
And I say, actually, just a little indigestion. Breakfast didn't go very well. Respect, admiration, love. But I'm gonna see how this turns out before I, don a cloak.
Do you wish to rip your hand out from his grasp?
Absolutely not. I will be respectful. I don't want to hurt this dude. But I do not want a cloak.
He's basically, you are now being him, and then the other kind of bigger fella are basically forcing this cloak onto you. We're gonna quickly jump over to Marakai. You have the cloak has now been put onto you.
Ooh.
And what you feel is a tingling. It almost feels like with all of your intuitive things and everything you understand, almost like your crown chakra begins to tingle, and almost like you're feeling as if you're maybe about to sprout wings, and then it intensifies, and it goes a little further, and it's going a little past just tingling. It's starting to be a little uncomfortable. You're not sure if this is exactly how you like to feel and what it seems to be right. And you're understanding the faces that everybody else around you is making in the clothes, that this is a very strange and different sensation. And it is making you a bit uneasy.
I turn to my companion and I say, "Kamra, when we come from fear, we vibrate low. And when we come from love, we vibrate higher. What I'm feeling is a sense of enlightenment coursing through me. And there's discomfort in it, but there's always discomfort with growth. And so I grab your hands and I show you the Uttari Bodhi Mudra. And this is to refresh the system, charge it with energy, and it's a great way to calm the excited mind or soothe the nerves before starting any seemingly overwhelming task. It's believed that the Uttara Bodhi Mudra is great for improving self-confidence and realizing the inner self. It removes fear and teaches one not to worry about anything. It's also said to help inspiration, problem solving, and decision making, as well as improve focus and concentration. And that is with the interlocking of the fingers and the index fingers pointed up and the thumbs down. And as I demonstrate that to you, I close my eyes wearing my own cloak and lean into the discomfort.
Karma, do you do the mudra?
I say, Markai, I love this Charlie's Angels thing you're doing. I love this. Something is wrong here, Markai. Something is wrong, and I don't want to do this.
As you say that, one of the individuals that was at the corner, one of the first to receive their cloak, yells out in pain. Ah! You notice steam starting to rise from the top of it. And the tops, the head, right where it's making contact with them, turn a shade of pink.
Bad news.
And you smell. And Kamra, you would know this smell almost anywhere. And it is unfortunate to you to know this smell, but you know it almost anywhere. Of seared blood.
Oh. I'm getting the fuck out of here. This isn't okay. And so I begin to I'm going to go ahead, and if there are people with their hands on me, I'm going to be respectful, try to get them off, and if that doesn't work, I've got other powers that I can use cuz I got to get out of here.
All right, you try to get out. 3, you fail. You cannot simply. They're now forcing that cloak over your head. They're really trying to pull it down on you.
Hellish
You're hearing
rebuke.
another individual scream out in the same pain. It's seemingly that these. Yeah.
Yeah, hellish rebuke. I will not. You do not touch me in this way. I did not give my permission.
Okay.
Consent, damn it! I say.
I'm so sorry. That is a natural fail. The cloak is forced over you. You try, but you fail, and the cloak is forced entirely over you, and you're starting to begin to feel some of that same tingling. Marukai, you're starting to become less and less confident that this is, crown chakra tingling. There may be something truly wrong. You're starting to feel some actual pain that is going beyond the level of discomfort that you think is good for healing in your expertise.
I reach out to embrace Kamra in a hug, and I whisper.
You cannot. They're like the other two individuals are like pulling everything, like they're shoving other people out of the side. Like it's getting to be a little bit of a scene.
Okay, as I'm reflecting back, right, we approached this village. We were gifted with 10 pieces of bread that we weren't charged for. We healed a child. Then we were invited to a ceremony and given a free cloak. But now there is discomfort with the cloak. What is our general sense of the vibe in this auditorium space? Are the people watching celebrating and cheering? Are they somber? What's the vibe?
It's somber. It is complete silence. It seems that the biggest disruption is the fact that the two are trying to put the cloak over Kamra. The rest seem to be silent, and all that you hear are more and more of these screams turning almost into wails of anguish. As you see one of the others try to rip off the cloak that has been put on them, that other individual, the second one that's a little bit bigger, comes over and forces the hood down.
Okay. I pull out a giant bamboo stick and I pull a Gandalf, smashing it into the ground in front of Kamra, and I yell, "You shall not pass."
Okay. What is your intention with this? Are you trying to just like shockwave blast them away? What are you trying to accomplish?
Yeah, like set the boundaries. Say, hey, we want to know more. We don't like being forced into this. We're open to it, but we would like some explanation.
You got a 6. 6 is not very good. I will say that you definitely make an impact, an impression, but there doesn't seem to be any real boundary that is set. At this point, some of the other hooded figures that were on the lower sort of balconies take a few steps down because some of the balconies were just a few steps off of the ground, and they start moving towards you in a menacing way, but also in a way, especially some of the darker hooded ones, that seemed very familiar to the way that one skeleton took a step at the beginning of this.
Dude, these cloaks suck the life force out of people.
turn you into the skeleton stick people. Okay.
The skeleton stick people were maroon. Remember that? It's like a dark, dried blood color.
How did we we did something earlier to get rid of the skeleton people?
I mean, you just blasted them to smithereens because you turned from a panda to a human. I don't know if you can recreate that.
Shit. Okay. I chew on the bamboo staff that I had initially to try to create the ripple effect in the hopes that it'll transmute me back into my panda form.
I will pull a card, but I'm letting you know because you used basically a wish spell previously. It's very unlikely this is going to work. Because you didn't go into this as being somebody who's able to shift shapes from that to that. Yeah, absolutely. You're just a dude with long white black hair chewing on a bamboo staff in the middle of a crowded room of evil-looking red hooded figures. Yeah. Karma, would you like to do anything else? At this point, because of the Gandalf style of things, they have gotten their hands off of you. This is your kind of opportunity to escape or do something else.
I don't want to escape when all these people are being hurt. The whole searing flesh thing. This is bringing back some. I'm getting a little tiefling post tiefling distress syndrome. And I want to there's a thaumaturgy type spell.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to break the spell that these cloaks are having over the people being cloaked.
Okay. Let's see what happens. Oh my goodness. This is as close as you can get to one of those cards. The Ace of Spades. This is not the unicorn card, but this is as close as you can absolutely get to it.
On that ace.
There is a unicorn on that ace. Yeah. It completely, I will say that because that is a natural ace, or natural 20 is what it's called in D&D, but it not only, it just blows the cloaks completely off of them. A couple of them are a little freaked out because they're naked. The others, because you didn't have to be naked, are fine. But the screams of pain seem to come back to possibly slight whimpers of there's no longer pain, and just gasps of being naked in such a public space. Yeah, you've successfully blown it off. As well, with all of that, you have blown back those figures that have been walking towards you a little bit as well. All of the individuals that have been disrobed and have felt all the pain immediately start running for the exit. So they're now kind of making their way past you and running out the door.
I look around for my buddy. I look around for Marakai. Do I find Marakai in the crowd?
Yes, because you two are kind of still relatively close to each other, and both of you are still wearing those cloaks.
Okay. I'm gonna be like, I'm tossing mine. This thing's gotta go. White, not my color anyway. I mean, look at all this magnificence. And I urge my brother Marakai to follow the crowd. Like, hey, come on, let's go. Let's get the hell out.
Okay.
I take my cloak off, but I put it in my bag.
Okay. I like it. I will allow it because all the others are kind of stunned, and if you notice, as the skeletons, they are moving a little bit slower as they're descending down those steps. You both make it out, and you're seeing that this group of people are running in a very understood way. Like they know where they're going. There's obviously some place that they, knowing this village and the surrounding places, they know where they're supposed to go to run away from all of this. Would you like to follow them?
I'm game. What do you think, Marakai?
Well, I'm curious, if we blew all the cloaks off, who's left to run from?
Oh, you blew only the white cloaks off, to be very clear. Only the white cloaks were blown off. All the red cloaks seemingly were stuck to the individuals. They were a little bit stickier, truly, and they weren't able to be blown off.
Okay.
So the red cloaks, are they coming after us?
They are, yes.
Run with the white. cloaked naked people.
Well, they're naked people now. They don't have any cloaks. Some are naked. Some are kind of in their undergarments. It's just a variety of you're streaking down the middle of this this town, and you, Mordecai, as well, because you're in your birthday suit. You didn't put anything else on. You just took off your cloak and put it in your bag. You haven't put any other clothes on. So Kamra seemingly is the only one that's actually dressed as all of this happens. Don't worry, Kamra. You don't have to pull for blushing. As you see all of this. All right, as you're making this is a lot more noise than you're used to hearing in this whole thing, and you're seeing windows and everything flying open, and more of these red cloaked figures are coming from other parts. It seems that this may not have been the first occurrence, and that they understand that those who have not been cloaked, they're needing to further chase down. You're going to continue running? You're going kind of uphill towards an upper part of the village.
Where are the brother and sister?
Oh, they were back at a house. They've kind of been back because you went from their house up to this other big part with the old guy and the two burlier peoples. So yeah. You don't really know.
Full speed with the rest of the naked people till we get to wherever we're going.
Okay. You guys are running, and you basically get you're running past, and you see that there's almost an open park. It's interesting. They've kind of put away a piece of this, and it seems strange given that it's surrounded by wilderness, why there would be almost like a park sort of a thing. But then you notice that there's kind of a piece of a river that kind of bends into that piece of the park, and that maybe it's nice. And you're seeing that some of the individuals are jumping into the river, and others have stopped at the edge of the river and are terrifyingly looking around at the river, at the water, back at the red cloaked, as if they're afraid of jumping in and what that may bring.
Are they short?
As they're humanoid, they're teenagers.
Okay, so they're not afraid of like drowning in the river.
It doesn't seem like it.
Okay.
But you can see that as those that jumped in, the current has really started. It's not a very strong current, but decently strong to where it has started taking them away.
And for the folks that it's taking them away, does it seem like they have accomplished what they set out to do? Are they happy about being taken away, or are they like screaming or anything?
Let's see. You got an 8. I'm gonna say they're definitely not screaming, but they have this look of peace mixed with complacency, mixed with dread.
Okay, like they may not be going to something better, but
or they may be going to something better, but not something good.
Oh, awesome.
I'm gonna pull my Daniel Andrews card again. Call my boy Andrew and ask him to send us a helicopter.
I don't think you have a phone. You're going to be able to do that.
Telepathically communicate. Daniel, we need help. Send us somebody with a helicopter.
You just see this vision of a tie floating above you. A blue tie.
So at this point, your choices really are you can jump into the water or seemingly face the red figures.
What about the other bank? I mean, like, is the river something crossable?
It's seemingly, yeah, there is the other bank. Absolutely.
Okay. I pull out a bamboo stick from my bag and I toss one to Kamra. And we use that to try to wade our way across.
Yeah.
All right. It's a deep river. You're not going to be able to wade your way. You can't make contact with the bed, the riverbed every time as all the way through. So you can get into it, but there's going to be a portion you have to swim across. You still try?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Basically, we're going to pull a card to see if you're going to be able to withstand the current and if the current is not going to start sweeping you off to the side. Jack, you withstand the first part of it, but as you keep going, those the red figures are now starting to throw rocks as you're starting to do that. They are seemingly not wanting to get into the water with all of this. So I'm gonna have to make another card pull to see if you're able to withstand the rocks as you're crossing. For this one, I'm gonna be honest before I even pull the card. You have to get a jack or higher for this, and it is a 4. So the rocks hit you, they sweep the bamboo stick under, and
Not again.
you're starting to be pulled further and further. It seems those individuals that did not jump in, that were unclothed, they're being grabbed by the hooded figures, and those cloaks are once again being forced onto them more and more. And the river starts to take you. Do you try to do anything else to either get to the other bank, swim?
Maybe we take our chances in this river. What do you think?
I'm curious. They don't want to get in the water. Is it because they can't swim? Is the water itself something bad for them? Like if we splash them, will that have an effect?
Splashy. I'm
right.
in. Can we find like a little place where we can stand and splashy?
I will say you can at kind of that bend, just because you still have the bamboo sticks. I'll say that you're able to kind of get in there. How would you like to splash them? Would you like to just like full on pool park splashing?
Bamboo.
just blow and do that. Okay.
I'm full on horning the water. I'm going to do whatever I have to do.
Would you like to use any kind of magical means to try to splash them? I'm allowing you to use your creativity with this if you'd like.
Okay, well, this pipe isn't a pipe. It's an extra dimensional porthole into the ethereal, well, not the ethereal, the water, the plate of water.
Okay.
And I am, so instead of sucking on the pipe, I will now take a huge breath and blow as hard as I can onto this pipe, and I'm going to aim this thing with all my might at the nearest dude who's trying to, the nearest person who's trying to robe somebody that doesn't want to be robed.
All right. Here comes the best part. 3.
Fuck.
What I'll say is you absolutely succeed in producing the water, but you completely miss the dude that you were going for. Instead, what ends up happening is that you hit the person that is behind them.
Okay.
The person behind them happens to be the old guy that you all followed into the thing that was very, very red. And you hear shrieks of agony, unlike any that you heard from even the people putting on any of the stuff.
Water is our friend.
Water's our friend.
Yeah. And what you also hear is as he is trying to get as much of this off of him, you hear him starting to say, I could never be me. And he starts to crumple more. I never got to express my... And he falls. Seemingly unconscious, possibly dead.
Oh, this is badness.
We still got a bag of bread.
Got a bag of
bread.
Granted, you're in the water, so bread may be getting soggy. Which
That's
is a good thing
okay
for this bread.
Exactly. We've now got things to chuck at these people that are soaked, right?
Yes, I help tear the bread into chunks so we can have more ammunition.
Okay.
We send a barrage of wet bread.
A barrage of wet bread. Okay. I will allow it. You got a king. As you're hitting all of these different individuals, each one of them said, I was an artist. I just wish that you're hearing all of them starting to express all these various desires and ideas that they've wanted. All these people that you've heard be so quiet and somber all of a sudden are saying things that are different from one another, that seem to have a lot of discourse overall. And yet you're seeing, as they are saying all of this, that they seem to age a little bit more. Some of them are starting to throw back their hoods, and as they vocalize, their various regrets, they seem to become a little bit older just in front of your eyes as you're throwing all these pieces of soggy bread.
I say 50 is the new 20, and I keep throwing the bread.
All right. Queen, this continues to happen, and I will say that with those kind of card pulls, you're basically are able to hit about half of them. The others are now encroaching that you're not able to hit, and they're starting to basically throw things at you to knock you down further into the river. And so we got a 9. You're knocked back to the point where you now can't throw anything else. You're holding onto the stick that is kind of embedded into the bed, but your feet can't touch. So you're kind of floating. So now you can either try to regain your ground, let go and float, do whatever it is that you want. But both of you at this point can't maintain throwing the soggy pieces of bread. And I will say you probably have maybe another loaf or 2 left.
I yell out to Comra and I say, "Look at that." And I point up into the sky. And as we had been throwing all this bread, a mist had formed, creating a rainbow. And as I pointed it, all of the creature things also look up at the rainbow.
We'll see. We'll see if they're persuaded to look at the rainbow. 4, they are not persuaded to look at the rainbow. They're looking at you, and they want to get you. It's your choice. You can let go.
I don't think letting go is the answer here. Do you, Marakai?
I don't. I believe we can get out of this water soaking wet and hug these motherfuckers.
We'll wage hugs on them.
Wet hugs.
We will wage wet hugs.
Wet hugs. Okay.
I'm
Nothing
right
like
beside
a
him. I
wet
think this
hug.
is a fabulous plan.
I am going to pull 2 cards. One is going to be for Marakai. The other one is going to be for Kamra. And we will see for your ability to get out of the river.
Okay.
Okay. So for Kamra, we got a 5. Marakai, you got an ace. So Maragai's absolutely able to get out there in all of his panda body shapeness and unleash wet hugs. And as this is all happening, the bamboo stick twists out from the riverbed, and Kamra is swept further down the river. Since they were throwing more and more rocks at you, you kind of are unable to get another save or another grasp at anything as you are swept further away. As you're floating down this river, you're going further and further, and you're feeling that the current is building up. It is getting a whole lot more rugged. You're seeing that there's jagged rocks here and there. You're doing your best to avoid them. You're unsure how in the world you're going to get out of all this, and you're hearing thunder, for what you can tell, a thunderous roar that is coming up somewhere. And from everything you've done, you know that when you're in a river and the current's fast and there's a roar, it's probably a waterfall. And I'm gonna let you try one thing before you're basically at the edge of this waterfall and you're about to go over.
Okay, well, once again, my pipe. I'm going to try a thing. I saw my grandfather do this with the pipe. This thing came from him. I mean, he had a lot of secrets, okay? I didn't ask a lot of questions. It was a trying time for all of us. Anyway, I am going to reach out with this pipe as far as I can. I see that there's a tree with some hanging branches, and I want to hook one of those bad boys so that I can hook it, hold on, and maybe go into a bank and maybe be able to do something to maneuver there. How's that working for me?
Let's see. Joker.
Is it good?
Joker is DM's choice of utter chaos and randomness. It is now entirely up to me of what craziness occurs. As you try to lunge and get part of this branch, the pipe actually almost extends a little bit further, it seems, magically. It latches onto the branch. And it's one of those things, right, where you go a little bit further and kind of does that little slide, and then it gets hooked right onto that tiny little nook of another little branch. And it gets there, and you go, yes. And then the current pulls more of your weight, and you feel it tug. The branch is bends, and snaps.
I try to hook my horn into it. What?
No, you're too far away. You can't. You're not like your outstretched hands on this. The branch snaps. The branch snaps, and you fall further in and down the waterfall. As you're falling, you're looking at all of the water. And seemingly, interestingly enough, you look at your pipe, and your pipe has broken because you tried to attempt this. And there's water coming out of the pipe, and it's seemingly floating around you. It seems to almost defy gravity in some weird way, the way that it was connected to the water realm. You're not sure where in the world is going on with all of these things. And all of a sudden, these pools of water start appearing next to you. And in them, you're seeing Marukai hugging a bunch of people in red cloaks. And you're going, okay, not really sure what that is. You're seeing the twins sitting and eating soggy pieces of bread. And you're falling and falling, completely unclear about what entirely is occurring. And then you plummet into the bottom of the waterfall, and everything goes black.
Okay.
Kamra.
Yes.
You wake up at your campsite at the edge of a road, knowing that you want to go to a village that has, you heard, a scrap of a book that will complete or add to the collection of the book that you are trying to find. You gather up your supplies. You check into your bag to go, hey, do I have enough food in that bag or not? You look in there. You have enough food for probably about 2 or 3 days. You start making your way up towards this village that you heard so much about.
Groundhog Day.
You're whistling as you go. As you're walking up and whistling further and further, you see possibly another campsite. You see smoke rising. You hear some kind of a clatter of something. As you walk up, do you want to walk up stealthily, or do you want to walk up with caution as you did?
Do I have any deja vu going on here? Or is this all just like the first time I've ever done it?
Feels pretty new.
Feels new.
Yeah.
I've had a lot of rocks thrown at me in my life. I'm gonna approach cautiously and maybe say, "Yo, anybody around?"
All right. That's a 2.
I'm doing real good here.
You scare a couple of crows from a nearby tree. They get a little freaked out by what you said, and you just you hear humming, but it's a familiar humming. It feels like it's a voice you might know and recognize. Do you proceed?
Yes.
You come to a campsite where you see Marukai in human form making what seems to be steamed bamboo shoots and a loaf of bread.
A birthday suit?
Go ahead.
Birthday suit?
For what?
Is he naked?
Oh, is he naked? Marukai, are you naked?
Yeah, always.
He's naked.
Okay.
He definitely does not have the white cloak on. You don't see the white cloak. What do you do?
Do I recognize him even faintly?
You do. You do. This seems familiar. It seems like maybe a different form or a possible dream, but something about this seems right.
I say, my friend, what do you do if you burn yourself? I mean, what if there's a splatter point going on? Are you okay over there?
Marika, you see Kamra, the last time you saw her, she was floating off downriver. You've since went from through the village. You basically were able to wet hug everybody to happiness, and now you are on your way, kind of making your way back. You had a couple of you had a day or two in there as well. Yeah, you're there. How do you react?
I sprint as fast as I can to my beloved friend and embrace her with a big hug.
Karma, do you try to dodge a naked hug?
Absolutely not. Oh, no. No, no. Now, I'm not a hugger, but I will allow myself to be hugged. And I recognize this person. So I stand there like stiff as a board
Yeah,
and
me
say,
too.
yes, it is also good to see you, my friend. How art thou?
I say, I'm so happy to see you. I wondered what happened to you after you went back downstream, so I returned to the site where we initially met, hoping to one day come across you again.
It is I, my friend. I also don't know where I've been, but this is actually not that unusual for me. Where are you going next?
At this point, Marakai actually glances over to another seat that was opposite the campfire that he had sort of created. And on that seat, Kamra sees something purple.
I like purple.
And Marakai sort of gestures a little bit more towards that. Karma, do you approach and look at what that is?
Oh, totally.
What you find there is this. Sitting there is the purple book that seemingly was in the possession of that elderly red dude. A little bit soaked on the pages after after what had happened from the pipe. But that is what lays there in front of you. With all of this, you have realized that you have achieved this to maybe gain some knowledge from the book and have found that. Marakai, you have understood that the healing properties of this entire village were along the lines of adorning these cloaks that would basically erode away most of the essence of your humanity and individuality, and in that sense, make you devoid of any ills or issues because you didn't feel. And you understand that perhaps was not the best choice, but a choice for you. And as both of you look at this book and what things may possibly come, we will wrap this up for potentially other adventures in the future. And probably another naked hug from Marakai.
Yeah. I will stand there again and say, yes, it is good to see you. I would do a buddy cop show with you any day.
Buddy cop show. We'd be good partners in a in a bind, right?
We would be great.
This is fun.
This is fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is great.
I'm glad. I'm curious in general, just any big takeaways for you, Jeff? This was kind of your first time exposed to something like this. It doesn't even have to be takeaways from what the game is like, but anything where you were like, ooh, that was an interesting thing. I did not expect this part of the story to happen.
Yeah, it's cool to because I think you had like a set scenario or something already. So then it's like almost playing detective, right? Like, okay, so we test the waters quite literally, right? Like what happens when we do this or that? And it was cool because it's like we don't know, so you try it. And it's like life, right? You just trial and error things. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And it's funny kind of how we chose to play. I don't know for yourself, RJ, but I tried to approach it in how I would in life, right? Let people show me who they are. Everybody gets benefit of the doubt up until a certain point. Then when it becomes apparent, it's like, okay, now we need to set those boundaries, right? Create the separation or whatever needs to happen to protect ourselves emotionally, physically, all the things. And approaching everything was best as possible with that lens of positivity and love, and right. So it was a good combination of realistic scenario and how I would want to approach it, and also the fun side of it, like exactly like you were trying to create, Stefan. So I had a blast with the imagination and just letting these things play out in my mind. Like, okay, how would I want to do this? I think next time I get to be more creative and have a little more fun with it. But this was a cool first time because yeah, I've seen it, but I've never played it. So thank you guys.
Man, I'm glad. I will say also for like the audience, there were some things that were planned. I think like 70 to 80% of that, you guys went in a completely different direction. So, which I expected. I know that's how it always goes. I did not expect a soggy bread fight. Like who would, like so yeah, there were certain things that were in there just because we had to get it in under 2 hours, but awesome. RJ, any other takeaways before we finish this off?
I've never turned my pipe into a magic item ever. But I'm like, I've been brandishing this thing for 2 hours. And it's time to do something. It's fun. It's funny the way that Jeff approached it is the way that a lot of my characters tend to approach things. Not nearly as much knowledge, but everybody gets a big wet hug right now. I mean that's still in me. And so I was sort of playing not me. I was sort of playing, the sidekick, looking at things with suspicion rather than, like, hey, what's going on here? So that was kind of fun. That was a different character for me to play.
Awesome. Well, there's going to be plenty more fun to come. There's a tiny part of me that's thinking like Critical Role and going, is it Thursday yet? And saying instead, is it Tuesday yet? But in general, my goal is to have one of these every single week.
Dude, awesome.
Right. And so on that, dear audience, we all bid you adieu. We hope that you had as much fun as we did going through this utter craziness. It was a blast for me as well. So thank you both for joining me.
Oh, absolutely.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, this was a lot of fun.